At my best friend's wedding, the groom admitted he wasn't sure if he wanted to marry her. What should I do? Original post. Alright, I was just at a wedding that ended in an absolute show, and I have to tell someone about it, because I don't even know what to do or if I should do anything of this. I'm at a total loss. This was a first for me. My childhood friend was getting married today to her high school sweetheart. The wedding was a long time coming. They've been together for 6.5 years and share a 2-year-old son together. They've been engaged for 3 years now because they delayed planning the wedding after she unexpectedly got pregnant with their son. So now the wedding was finally here. Earlier this year, she set a date and started planning. I was engaged this year and got married in July and originally was just supposed to be a regular bridesmaid. The bride's sister was supposed to be the maid of honor, but they had a falling out. Basically, the bride would always call her sister ranting about her fiancé every time they would fight, which caused the sister to form a pretty negative opinion of her. Sister lives across several states away and doesn't see everything that goes on here. Her mind jumped right to abuse, and she told the bride if she marries him, she's not coming to the wedding. Now here's the thing. Their relationship isn't perfect. They are young. They went through a lot very quickly and very young. Getting engaged, unexpected pregnancy, MOVYing in together, all happened very fast. They fought a lot. I had my concerns at first, but after spending a lot more time with them, I saw how much they genuinely loved each other, parented their son together well, and were working towards a future together. The bride and I have been close friends for so much of our lives. She's like family to me. I care for her deeply. When she asked me to step in as maid of honor, I said yes for those reasons. Cut to today, the wedding day. Everything was going well. Groom was getting emotional when they did their private vows, and before walking down the aisle, he was still wiping tears. It warmed my heart. Looking back now, I wonder what the heck was going through his head. Not sure they were tears of joy. As the night went on, the bride mingled and danced with her family. She had so much family that traveled from many states away to be here, and she wanted to be a good hostess. The groom was usually off talking with his own family when he was doing this, but for the most part, they stayed together. They sat together, ate together, danced to a few songs, played the shoe game, then they were mingling separately with their families. Didn't think that was a big deal, as this is often how receptions go with so many people they're pulling you in opposite. At one point, they both went inside. The venue reception was outside for a while, and then she came out alone. She continued to chat with family, and then after a little bit realized he was nowhere to be found. After a while of searching, we found him wandering around outside, going for a walk. Bride was pretty distraught at this point. I will add that the groom did have a good amount to drink during the party. Apparently, when they went inside the venue, he was angry at her for not spending enough time with him during the party and said they were hardly together the whole night. Once he got back from his little walk, they were just arguing inside there, I guess. At this point, a lot of guests were Leah VYing. The ones left me, my husband, the rest of the wedding party, and their immediate families didn't really know what to do. We were supposed to do a big send-off for them, so we were just kind of waiting for that. We packed up all the stuff, broke down all the tables and chairs, loaded it in cars, and just waited. Me and the other bridesmaids pulled her aside to talk to her, but she was pretty deflated at this. Apparently, the groom had taken his ring off and told her he wasn't sure he wanted to be married to her at their wedding. They've been VYing together for 3 years. They share a child. They've been dating since 2018. Nothing about this was rushed other than maybe their ages. They are quite young, but I never thought of them as immature until this stunt he pulled at their wedding over not spending enough time together at the reception. Like, sorry, why not just not leave her side then? I just don't understand it all. We finally decided to just load their stuff in their car and tell them it's all loaded and they should probably go ahead and go to get some sleep before their flight tomorrow. At the car, we hugged goodbye and I left to come home. This girl is one of my absolute best friends. I hate that her beautiful wedding was ruined by her husband being petty and stubborn. She was in tears and distraught on her own wedding day. It's just awful. I don't really know where to go from here. If this is at all normal, something that will get past, or if this is more serious. I genuinely am rooting for them, but this whole situation just has me sitting in my car feeling confused and worried for my... They're Leah VYing for their honeymoon tomorrow. Don't feel like it's an appropriate time to reach out and try to talk to her about all of this. Any ad VYC is appreciated. I guess I'm thinking I check in VY a text a few times while they're traveling on the honeymoon and make sure it's going okay and make plans to see her when she gets back and we can debrief everything then if she wants to get... Starting to think the sister might have been onto something. Relevant comments. Nadia Hunt, woman cometh. Ooh, lots of problems here. The sis was onto something. 1. If the bride is constantly calling her with complaints fights, the groom is not a good fit for her. 2. The groom was drunk. This took his feelings from a 3. Hey, can we spend the rest of the reception together? To a 10. You are dead to me because you are ditching me at our wedding night for totally reasonable reasons. 3. Sounds like this wedding spat was just a representation of chronic issues between them. If this relationship is going to last, they need to see a therapist. This is beyond your aid, unfortunately. Personally, I wouldn't text or say anything today or tomorrow. She is probably distraught. They need to work out some things on their honeymoon. Maybe check in with her when she's back, or she'll reach out to you if she needs @VYC. That's what I would want anyways, but you know her best. The VYD Gray, literally this. I think when you said the sister doesn't see everything that goes on, I do you're off by a lot. You're seeing the smoke show. The sister is hearing about the reality. Ophelia Bell. Oops. I'll add a little context here, though. I grew up with the bride, and besides her sister, I'm probably the only friend she has that is her friend. I did not know her husband before they got together, and still didn't know him super well before she got pregnant. Her other friends are all extensions of him somehow. His siblings and in-laws, his friends' girlfriends. I feel like a lot of the issue is that she needs more people to actually talk to. Her sister will always take her side. His family will always take his side and shrug things off as that's just how he is. I have just tried my best to be somewhat of a Switzerland presence. She knows I support her, but in that I also support her relationship. And I know marriage is hard, especially with kids. So I try to support them both. Miki Knox, Legitimaticat. 1. I have so many questions just trying to understand the dynamics of. In what scenario did she not grow up in the same house as her sister? 2. What were his parents doing at the reception, and were they aware of his hissy fit? 3. Is it safe to assume that his parents were still there at the end? 4. What were her parents doing at the end? 5. Who had their child? Ophelia Bell. Half-sisters through adoption by the dad. 2. His parents sat at their own table and didn't seem to care about mingling with her family. But I don't want to jump to conclusions as to why. 3. His parents were still there at the end, and his dad looked really disappointed when helping us load their car. I pulled his mom aside and asked her to go talk to her son because she may be the only one he listens to right now. She did talk to him and was the one who ended up getting him to come out of his room. I don't know what was said. For her parents were helping clean up, and I don't think they knew the full extent of what was going on. They were still talking to guests. It wasn't until the next day when I talked to both of them that I realized they were not aware of what the groom said about being unsure about the man, taking his ring off, etc. They thought they had a little spat that got resolved quickly before they left. 5. Groom's mom had the baby most of the time, and toward the end of the night, he fell asleep in the groom's sister's. He went home with the bride's parents that night because they're watching him while they go on honeymoon. Update. It's been a week now, and a lot of people asked for an update. Some people on my original post were very adamant this relationship was abusive, citing red flags, research, EVY Denke, and personal anecdotes that this story reminded you. There were also several comments saying I was overreacting, the groom was just drunk, and they will probably be fine. I wanted to clarify some things from my original post. While my friend, the bride, does have her sister, she was the only child growing up in her house. In many ways, she truly is an only child. She is at least the only child of her mother. She already had a small circle. Her family lives all over the country and is not involved very much. That was not the groom's doing. He did not isolate her. Secondly, I would like to clarify their ages because I didn't mention them in my last post. They started dating at 15, female, and 16, male, and got married at 21 and 22. Part of the reason I omitted it originally is because I didn't want people jumping to conclusions about their relationship because of their ages. There's a lot of stigma around getting married young, especially on Reddit, and I get it. The odds are stacked against. That's why I decided to put their ages in now, because I realize it's important to understand they really do have so much growing and learning to do still. Now on to the update. It's pretty short. She Snapchatted me later that night after they got to their hotel and said as he began to sober up, he was realizing all that he ruined and was very apologetic. He realized they didn't get to do their last dance, their send-off, the bouquet and garter toss. She said he was crying. They talked it all out, and she said it sucks that their wedding ended that way, but it was amazing up to that point. And the important thing is that they're married and going to spend the rest of their lives together. She said they're going to work past it, and I asked how. Do you have a plan? Just want to be sure. She said they will work on their communication skills, and I once again recommended therapy. She said they'd talk about it and consider it. Then they were off on their honeymoon and seemed to be having a great time. I've checked in a bit when she has Snapchatted me some pics, and they're doing well. She knows she can always come to me, and she knows I'll support her no matter what. Right now, I'm going to do everything I can to help uplift them as a couple and help them form some better communication habits. Her sister didn't support her choice to stay with him, and that's why sister is not in her life anymore. I don't want that. I will support her choice, period. A few key takeaways. Be careful drinking on your wedding day. You don't need that much. The last thing you want is to get drunk on your wedding day and say, do something stupid as a result that you can't take back. One commenter put it really well. You may be able to overlook your partner's ugly parts now, but are you willing to let this be your life if they never change? I know there's a lot of people in this subreddit that are getting married, so I hope someone can learn something from this story. Relevant comments. Comment 1. I skimmed those responses, and she literally says the friend likes to use Snapchat because the messages appear, so the groom won't see them if he goes through her phone. Then she adds a nice little tidbit that he's very controlling, but somehow the takeaway is to be careful about drinking on your wedding day, and the couple is doing. I'll chalk OB's utter lack of discernment up to her age as well, because I'm going to assume she's also 21, 22. Comment 2. He definitely sounds like an abuser, but I guess OB is one of those people who thinks abuse only counts if it's physical, but he's definitely emotionally abusive at least. What OB is seeing is an abuse love bomb cycle. OB mistakenly thinks the love bomb stuff proves that he loves her so much when in fact that's merely a tactic to keep her from vying him due to the abuse. Comment 3. How is the main takeaway? Don't drink too much at your wedding. People get wasted on their wedding day and don't take their ring off and say they shouldn't be married. I would say that's far more frequent than whatever this is. Comment 4. OB missed the point so hard, I'm almost tempted to call her a troll. Like, how do you write that all out, then not have an epiphany that the relationship was built on rotten foundation? Oh, but I've seen how much they love each other, and love is rarely enough to fix a fundamentally broken relationship. Those two need actual professional help, and all they're doing is sticking their head in the sand. Now to the next story. Story 2. Mysterious blood stains in my bed lead to a shocking discovery. Hidden black mold in my attic room causing my hay fever symptom. Let me just start by saying that I am a man, and so I don't get a period. I've been levying on my own in Arnhem for a while now. It's a nice little room in the attic. It's old, nice, and feels very cozy. I don't live in a dorm, but I live with an older lady who has 2 cats. I'm allergic to myself, so when those cats come this way, I chase them out the door. Now I have a problem. A few days ago, I woke up with clothes on, my closet turned over, and clothes on the floor. Sleepwalking can happen. Now things are getting a little weird. On the entire left side of my double bed, from head to toe, there's a long trail of blood, as if something bloody has been running over it. This can't be the cats because they don't come into my room at night. And it also seems unlikely to me that an injured animal has been walking there, because if something bleeds that much, it should be Cybele somewhere else in the room, right? It also seemed unlikely to me that I myself bled a vertical trail in my sleep, but I didn't think anything else of it. I cleaned it up, and that was that. But this morning, a few days later, I woke up blood everywhere again on that side of the bed. And with blood everywhere, I really mean a trail you can't miss, and the smell. I woke up because of the smell, and not even my alarm clock. 6:30. I want to ask the housewife what she thinks this could be. She smiled for a moment and said, "Maybe your room is haunted." Well, that didn't make it better. I'm now sitting in the bathroom scrubbing that sheet again and try not to throw up. I don't know what's going on here, but could this be a weird hazing problem? And by that I mean student hazing? Is this a normal thing they do in Arnhem? Smear blood on your bed? I'm just saying I'm from Brussels. I know there are weird things happening. I don't get it at all, especially because I've scanned my whole body and there are no wounds any. Has anyone experienced something similar? Is my room genuinely possessed? Sorry if this is a stupid question, but I'm kind of done with it. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Have read this before. Someone who had bled from his ears, you don't often see that, so it's logical that you don't see a wound. Have your ears checked and place a camera if you're not sure. Maybe just block the door on the inside or something. Abel, I'm definitely going to do that. Good idea. I'll ask the doctor right after class today to schedule an appointment. Commenter 2. Please go get a carbon monoxide meter from Action. Please. Those things are €1. Nausea and smelling things that aren't there, you mentioned sulfur, are both symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning, plus the fact that this is happening in winter, so you probably have more heating stove on the north. Abel, I'm pretty scared of this now. I just checked the symptoms online, and they do match. I'm going straight to the hardware store after class, starting to get nervous about this haha. Commenter 3. Perhaps something about bed bugs that you roll flat in your sleep after they feed? Abel, yuck. It's on the comforter though. Don't think I rolled over them, but could have been an answer. Commenter 4. You specifically mentioned that the first time that you woke up with clothes on different clothes, therefore, than you had fallen asleep with. Were there other weird things this morning, or just blood? Abel, yes, different clothes than what I went to bed with. I went to sleep in my pajamas logical, and I woke up with my sweater and jeans on. I have never walked before this morning, only blood, thank God. Otherwise, I would have scheduled an appointment with the psychologist. Update a few days later. Update. For the past few days, I've been staying at my friend's house. See if it's mysteriously bleeding there. I ordered a camera, and nothing happened until yesterday morning. I went back home, went to the doctor on the way because I suffer from hay fever, and once home, just checked the cats for being in heat. Turns out they're both male, unfortunately. I set up the camera in a can thanks to whoever @VY said that, and went into the space behind my room with a CO detector to measure it. The second I got in there, I smelled a very familiar smell, exactly the smell that vaguely smelled like blood. Now that I know what it is, I would associate it more with meat, but the smell of blood came very close anyway. I grabbed the CO detector, shirt in front of my nose, and put that thing to work. Nothing wrong anyway. I called my friend because the smell was very specific. She was there within an hour, and she too thought it smelled very strangely of blood. It's a large attic which smells of blood and rotted flesh, and there are things everywhere. In the dark, of course, my imagination ran wild. My girlfriend also started to get the jitters, and after an hour of pondering, we decided to call the police. Well, they showed up on my doorstep after 4 hours, and together we went upstairs. The police also smelled the odor, and it was so convincing that some other special agents were called in before they went up into the attic. Very long story short, after a long wait and search, they didn't find a body, but they did find mold all over the wall against my room, under the baseboards on the roof, black mold everywhere. Immediately relieved that my landlord wasn't a murderer, but black mold isn't a fun joke either. In the meantime, I've moved all my stuff and am temporarily VYing with my girlfriend until the problem is solved. Even then, I don't know if I'll go back because the landlord wasn't very happy that I kind of suspected her of murder, but that's another story. It's funny because as the doctor said when I came in with my hay fever, it's remarkable that you're suffering from it now. He was right. The itchy eyes, the nose bled in my sleep, yes. It turned out to be a nose bled, the sleepwalking, the tired days, everything in place. End of story. I do want to thank you all, Indy VY Dooley, for your kind messages and earnest attempts to help. Thanks to you, I went behind the room to check that meter. I wonder if I would have found out about the fungus if I hadn't. Thanks so much, really. Relevant comments. Comment 1. I get it's not as bad as a body, but the thought of there being black mold all around me in the walls growing day after day is still skin crawling awful. And I wish more people realized how hay fever and other allergies is and how many symptoms there are. I think people think it's just sneezing a bit, not the weeks of misery of us experience. Comment 2. The lady's reaction of, maybe your room is haunted, makes me feel like she knew there was a problem, but they just didn't want to deal with it, which is why the landlord is unhappy since now the authorities are involved. They have no choice but to clean it up. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.